Hi, thanks for joining our YouTube video on crafting a strong body paragraph. We'll go over what you need to know. If you'd like a copy of the slides, you can email me, Professor Scanlon, at scanlon1@kenyon.edu. So it's important to note first what the function of body paragraphs are in the American College University setup. Body paragraphs in an essay are those paragraphs that are not part of your introduction or of your conclusion. Instead, they support your main claim, your thesis or hypothesis, by sharing evidence and explaining the relevance of that evidence to your ideas. So let's go over a few stylistic examples before discussing a template. But I do want to make a note that these are just some basic examples. There are a whole variety of body paragraphs that you're going to write at the collegiate level. So let's first talk about the analytical essay or presentation style of body paragraph. In an analytical essay, you're examining a concept or idea, sometimes an argument. Body paragraphs here allow you to examine each part of the said concept or idea by presenting relevant evidence and then analyzing its relevance or irrelevance. So, for example, if your claim was that the argument René Girard, a philosopher, puts forth about anorexia and mimetic desire is incomplete, you'd then spend each body paragraph analyzing parts of his argument and pointing out the problems with each. However, if you're writing a style of research essay, your body paragraphs are going to be studying a concept or idea. Your body paragraphs in particular are going to allow you to share relevant context about said concept or idea by presenting evidence and then explaining its relevance. So let's say you're researching the economic effects of COVID-19 on Sudan. Your body paragraphs are going to provide context on why you chose this lens, the economic effects, this location, Sudan, and then what these economic effects are, citing appropriate data and explaining its relevance as you go. If you're writing an argumentative essay, you're crafting a stance on a topic. So your body paragraphs are going to offer both evidence in support of and against your stance, what we would call counterarguments. So let's say you're arguing that taking turns offers an authentic portrayal of a healthcare worker's experience treating HIV/AIDS patients. You're going to spend your body paragraph explaining why this fact is, showing as much as you can about the authenticity of this portrayal, and concede any areas that are inauthentic or inconclusive. So what style do you use? We're fans of the meal plan approach to get the basics out for any of these types of body paragraphs. The meal plan is as follows. M stands for the main idea of your paragraph. E stands for the evidence you use to support that main idea. A stands for the analysis you complete of your evidence, and L stands for the link back to your thesis or to your next main idea. M stands for the main idea. This part offers your topic sentence, what the rest of your paragraph is going to focus on. It answers a question of how this paragraph connects to your thesis, supporting it in some way. So for an example, of particular note is the way in which Girard underscores biases about gender and eating disorders or EDs. Now we'll expect this paragraph to explain at least some of these tropes, paraphrasing or quoting directly, and then analyzing that information before moving on to the next idea or another bias. E stands for evidence that supports the main idea. Here you're looking at evidence from your text or texts that helps bolster the main idea you introduced in your topic sentence. So if your topic sentence is of particular note is the way in which Girard underscores biases about gender and eating disorders or EDs, your evidence is going to be, he writes at one point, quote, many women would like to be anorexics, end quote. Now we can see what one of these tropes is thanks to the provided evidence, the ideal of the anorexic, and we can move to our next part, analysis of that evidence. So A stands for analysis of the evidence that supports the main idea. Here you're explaining to your audience why the evidence you chose is relevant and connected to your main idea, which in turn is connected to your thesis or hypothesis. So if you have a topic sentence or main idea, such as of particular note is the way in which Girard underscores biases about gender and eating disorders or EDs, and then evidence that is, he writes at one point, quote, many women would like to be anorexics, end quote. Your analysis might be something like, here we encounter a troubling notion about the ways in which EDs are thought to be associated with gender in a biased and unsupported way. Girard offers no evidence for his claim at any point. Now you're analyzing what the evidence, which is that quote about many women would like to be anorexics, shows us and why it's relevant to your main idea about underscoring biases about gender and eating disorders. We can see a clear bias in Girard's writing, but we need to make explicit for our readers why it's a bias. He offers no evidence, and what it does to readers encountering it. It troubles them. So L is the last part, and it stands for the link to the next idea or back to the thesis. Here you're moving on in your essay. You don't want to get stuck over analyzing, and so linking to a new idea is a good move. So if your topic sentence is of particular note is the way in which Girard underscores biases about gender and eating disorders or EDs, and your evidence is he writes at one point, many women would like to be anorexics, and then you analyze that evidence, noting here we encounter a troubling notion about the ways in which EDs are thought to be associated with gender in a biased and unsupported way. Girard offers no evidence for his claim at any point. Your link to your next idea or back to your thesis might be along the lines of, this instance is not the only time Girard's underscoring of biases is problematic either, but it is the first. Now you've summed up your point. Girard's makes this bias move several times. Here's just one example, and you've offered yourself a chance to move on to another example of this bias language if you so choose. The meal plan allows us to flow through ideas concisely. It creates space for generating body paragraphs, and it is a good starting point for writing, but it shouldn't be your last point for writing body paragraphs either. It just helps you get out that first round of ideas in that first draft. And then you'll be able to sort of expand, add maybe another piece of evidence in the same body paragraph, add more analysis, sum up a little bit more, and you'll have a really strong body paragraph when it's all said and done. Our tutors are here to help you with your body paragraphs. You should stop by Chalmers Library Floor 2 to see them today, or make an appointment at owl.kenyon.edu. If you have questions on body paragraphs, again, Library Floor 2 is your best shot to chat with a Writing Center consultant today. Thanks for listening.